Let me just access my personal email. And I'm on Mr. Fuga's laptop, so he's gonna get mad at me because I'm adding all my stuff here. My laptop unfortunately crashed yesterday, so I lost like all my files. So I'm relying on his laptop for now. And let me just pull up the agenda super duper quick. So let me check if it's recording. Yes, it's recording. Awesome. So the purpose of this meeting, and we're going to stick to the agenda just to make sure that we do get everything done. The purpose of this meeting is to utilize the feedback that was given to us from Wednesday's staff meeting to refine and finish drafting the CPI goal area 1 to be specific. Our meeting goals, we're going to create at least 2 objectives per goal, and I kind of already got started on that, just basing it off of the feedback. We're going to create 2 to 3 strategies per objective, and then we're going to fill out the rest of the CIP components. So you'll see what that looks like. Let's just go ahead and dive right into it. I created this, I really just got the template, and we're going to have to go goal by goal. So there's going to have to be 2 objectives per annual goal, and we have 3 annual goals. So in total, we're going to get through 6 of these. We had we knew our goal area was student achievement. Are y'all able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. We knew our goal area was student achievement. We knew our annual goal was going to be by May 2021. So I refined this, and let me know what y'all think. The reason I did it was because Ms. Martinez brought up a very good point. She said that our 3rd goal focuses on 6th grade reading and math, so there's no need for us to include them in the first 2 goals. So what I did was I put 7th and 8th grade for goal 1 and 2. So goal 1 is reading, goal 2 is math, and then for as far as 6th grade, they're covered under goal 3. Does that make sense? I don't know what y'all think.
Yes, it does make sense to me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I had put 7th and 8th grade will increase their reading star passing scores by at least 3% in comparison to the previous year. We are still wanting to roll with the 3%, correct?
This is for the reading?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so now we have to come up with 3 strategies as to how we're going to attain this goal. I thought that the very obvious strategy was reviewing the assessments to ensure adherence to specificities and the TEKS. So what this would mean is basically looking through the assessment us as teachers, analyzing the assessment, gearing our teaching towards whatever is going to be on that test, and then reviewing the test after. And I kind of just filled it in just to see to put it on paper and so we could actually see it all together. Is this a strategy you guys would feel would support our objective, which would be assignments? Well, let me go over the objectives first. Assignments aligned to the curriculum will be used to monitor student progress towards meeting state passing standards in 2021. We had discussed, and I had shared with you guys a page that looks like this. And these are just the suggested strategies that were mentioned. So these are things that we can implement just to kind of, speed up the process of filling out the CIP. And one of those, I'm sorry, where is this? And one of those was assignments aligned to curriculum will be used to monitor student progress toward meeting state passing standards in 2021. Do you guys feel okay with that objective? Do you feel it aligns with our goal?
Ms. Bua, can you repeat it, please? I'm sorry, I can't see the screen.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You can't see my screen?
No, I can't. It's just that it's so small. My eyes are on my screen. It looks very small. It's okay. I can see it, but it's. Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So it just says our objective is assignments aligned to the curriculum will be used to monitor student progress towards meeting state passing standards in 2020-2021. So basically, this is going to be our objectives. All of our strategies done are going to be supporting this objective and making sure that this objective is met.
I feel like that's fair.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, it goes with it. So yeah, it makes sense. I mean, our goal
Okay.
is the star at the end of the
the day.
Okay, awesome. Just wanted to make sure we were on the same page. Thank you so much, Mr. Perez and Mrs. Arredondo, for your feedback. Now, as far as strategies, would this be a strategy we are interested in? I think that these little components can be filled out. Don't have to be filled out right now, from my understanding. Mrs. Martinez, correct me if I'm wrong. Because I'm like myself, I'm not too familiar with like resources.
Right. The resources would be like if you need training, if we would need training, if we would need, for example, for the Jane Schaefer, we would need training. We would need Dr. Lewis to come in. We
Okay.
would probably need the books that they give us, things
Right.
like that.
Okay. So is it okay if today we complete the strategies and the action steps and then kind of fill this in as we go along?
Yes, we can definitely do that.
Okay, awesome. Just to value everybody's time. I know it's been a long week. So what do you guys think about that first strategy? Prior to administration of a CBA or benchmark, teachers will review the assessments to ensure adherence to the specificities in the TEKS. And I read that wrong. I understood that wrong the first time. Now that I'm reading it again, it's making more sense to me. So basically, we're just going to make sure that it's aligned with what we've taught.
That sounds good.
Okay. Awesome. Does anybody else agree, disagree?
I agree with Miss Olivares.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. What action steps would we take to complete that strategy? Just what do you feel it is that we need to do on our end to make sure that gets done?
Is that something that we put onto our assessment wall, into our data wall?
The TEKS,
Oh, I thought you were talking about. I'm sorry, I was reading the teachers will be review the assessment.
Teachers will review the assessments to ensure adherence. So basically, like we'd be looking at the CBA that we're going to take in December. Us as reading teachers, Mr. Perez would look over and make sure that the TEKS that are being taught there are TEKS that we've covered. So we don't test students on something that they never learned.
So this is basically going, like, again, because this is the reading area. So the reading teachers are gonna look at the TEKS they need to focus on. That's gonna be tested on generally on the STAR test, right?
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay, so then that means that they have to look at the data first, and then is it basically gonna focus on the TEKS where the kids struggle the most, and that's what we're gonna focus on after we review the TEKS, or it's gonna be the TEKS that are mostly tested on the STAR test?
I think that because our CBAs and our benchmarks come from state tests that were already administered previous years, I think that the test itself is fine. I think that what we're just making sure in this strategy is making sure that they're aligned to what we've taught. So whether they're TEKS that the students don't do good at usually, or TEKS that students excel in, we're just making sure for this strategy that they're being tested on things that they learned, not things that they're going to learn or have not learned yet. I hope
Okay, I see. Yes, makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. What kind of action steps do you guys feel would assist in this?
My major one is the vocabulary, the terms, the STAR terms, that are used. A lot of the students don't know, like the emphasize, I think that's something that we need to focus on. That way they know what it means, like to show, emphasize. So you bring it down to their level. So that way when they see that word, they highlight it and they can write it in their terms,
Yeah. So how would we embed that here? Let me see. Because I know I had put it over here on the suggested strategies because you had mentioned that the building STAR vocabulary. And I definitely think that that's something that we need to do. So maybe this one deals more so with teachers. So that's another strategy, I feel. It wouldn't be an action step. I think that would be another strategy.
Oh, I
So
see. I see.
more
I
for
see.
the teacher, right?
Yes, I think the first one is more like teacher geared. So like an action step for this first strategy would be teachers ensure that they are, I'm not sure, like writing or mentioning or embedding the TEKS. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now I get it. So strategy one is that, and then of course we can put another strategy that involves another thing.
Yes, I'm sorry if I didn't clarify on that. Yes, there's
Okay.
3
Okay.
strategies.
Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, there's 3 strategies per objective. So we're going to have this first strategy to make sure that we complete that objective. And then the second strategy would be embedding STAR vocabulary daily, right? Is that where you were getting at, Mrs. Arredondo?
Yes.
To establish familiarity. Right. Okay. So if this one makes it easier, then we can get started with the action steps here. What action steps can we do on our end that would help us embed or help the students familiarize themselves with the STAR vocabulary?
I feel like maybe focusing on a word per, like, maybe 2 days, or 3. I don't know how it would work, since it's in middle school, and kind of like do STAR
I
like
know.
questions.
I know that that before, I don't know how many years ago, like 2 years ago or something, they had that vocabulary thing, the word of the day, and then they embedded it and also like posted it in the cafeteria so the kids can see it and stuff like that, or something that maybe because now we're online, we can have like Ms. Olivares said, like vocabulary words, so the kids can know, okay, these are the words of the week today, and then we can put those words in there. So I think, yeah, that's like a way for them. But again, those vocabulary words come from the STAR test.
Is that better for y'all? Can you see better like that? Like a little bit bigger?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just because I don't want to be like typing and y'all, not getting it. I think that one's good. So that's a strategy. Maybe posting the vocabulary or the posting the designated STAR word of the week around school, right? Is that what you were getting at, Mr. Alanis?
Yes, but so I don't know, maybe because we're online, so maybe having it posted on their group classrooms.
And right now it's just a draft. I'll be fixing this to make it more academic. But I like that. And then go ahead.
Maybe like the do now, make it a vocabulary word and see how many of them know what that word means, and with practice, repetition, it would stick to them.
Or maybe having them use it on the class, like the word of the day, use it one time at least during class or something like that. I don't know, something like that, right, Miss?
I like that.
Yes.
So maybe holding students accountable for using the academic word in their discussions / participations. And I wanted to put establish, one of the action steps would be to establish prior knowledge on that specific STAR word of the week. And we need 2 to 3 action steps. 2 to 4 action steps per strategy. So yeah, that's basically how we'd be doing it. So we would do the strategy and then the action steps. Do you guys feel like there is anything more that we can do as far as action steps? I mean, I'm sure there's an abundance of things we can do, but anything that you guys feel is pertinent and that we should add under this strategy? Okay, so then going back into this first one, since we collectively agreed that this is a strategy that, and I'm just making it bigger, that this is a something that we need to do on our end as teachers to make sure that students excel, right? Because we're not going to be having high scores if the students are getting tested on things that they don't know. So maybe an action step would include something CLC related, because that's when teachers really dive into the TEKS. I'm not sure if you guys have like any, something more specific.
You said in terms of CLC, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking because that's CLC would be our now, right? Now our CLC time is our only planning time with our grade level as well. So maybe go in depth, and let me make that bigger. Go in depth when analyzing TEKS during planning. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes,
Okay.
that one's good.
I'm sorry?
Yes, that one is good.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for your feedback. Is there any other action steps that we can think of? I'm kind of stuck on this one as well. Do you guys want to pick another strategy? And then we can just come back to this one?
Well, wouldn't that be something like training also, like
Mhm.
getting trainings outside, like from Region 1?
Yes, definitely. So we can put receiving proper trainings to ensure teachers are knowledgeable on their grade level TEKS. And
Who,
go ahead.
who would provide the training? Would teachers provide the training? Would content teachers provide the training? District curriculum specialists?
That would be specified here in this one, Mrs. Martinez. Like we would have to say who would give the trainings.
Well,
Right.
would it be because we're focusing on this because this is the reading, right? So you're
Yes.
talking about receiving trainings for the ELL TEKS, or for you're talking about the TEKS of your department.
It would be our grade level department TEKS. So like I would have to learn the new 7th grade RLA TEKS.
Okay, and then for like let's say it's a different department like math or reading. I'm sorry, or science. Like are we still talking about the ELA TEKS?
Right, I
Because
get what you're saying.
because if it's science department when we meet during our CLCs, maybe one day they're gonna want us to talk about TEKS that are tested on reading because that's our
Uh-huh.
goal. Uh, I believe that because if we're gonna have to learn those TEKS for ELA, I think that the ones who should be training us is one of the reading teachers
Yes,
giving
I
us those
agree.
trainings. Okay.
So then maybe we might want to revise this. So it's because I see where we could get confused. Keep in mind that this is all dealing with reading. Let's do we want to review this? We can change the strategy entirely if you guys think about something else. We have all of these strategies. We had discussed streamlining reading and social studies. We also are you guys familiar with Dolch words? Because I don't know what they are.
No, I'm not. Sorry.
That was Mr. Oh, wait, what's his name? He was the one that suggested them. I was just wondering what it was, and I didn't get a chance to look at them. So you guys just let me know if you want to revise the strategy, come back to it.
Yes, because I think that one is very focusing on the TEKS, but again, we're focusing on the TEKS for ELA, and if it's that way, of course we're gonna need those trainings from for the other departments such as science, social studies, and math, because again we're not familiar with their TEKS.
Right.
Like we're familiar with our TEKS, but not their TEKS. So if we get those trainings of their TEKS, we understand, okay, that's what they're looking for. Maybe we can embed them in our teaching when we're teaching. So that's what I think when I see this strategy.
Right. So then would it still make sense to you, Mr. Alanis, to leave this as an action step, receiving
Uh,
proper trainings?
yes, because we're gonna need the trainings to know what they're looking for in those reading tests, so we can be able to see and then embed it to our own teaching when we're teaching our kids. Yes.
Okay. So this would count because we only need at least 2 action steps per strategy. So is everyone okay to move on after this strategy? Okay, I'm gonna take that as a yes. And of course, all of this isn't final. We're just drafting. We completed our strategy 2. Now, do we have any other strategy that might help us reach our objective, which is assignments aligned to the curriculum will be used to monitor student progress. So keep in mind, right now we're talking about our objective.
Like to ensure that we're doing this throughout the school.
Right.
So
Or
would continuous observations be one, like to ensure that the educators are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing?
yes. So you're talking about, you had said walkthroughs, right, sir?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Let me mess with this here. So how would we word that? Maybe administrators.
Engaging in ongoing walkthroughs, or yeah, would engage in ongoing walkthroughs. To ensure that educators are adhering to, I guess, determined steps or something. Determined, or something like I'm trying to say it like to the action step that we, or the content, or the
Yeah,
that we
administrators engage. So I'm thinking in my head, administrators engage in ongoing walkthroughs to ensure that educators are adhering to
determined.
I'm super like my brain
Me
is just
too.
fried. I think that's it. We can leave it like that, no? To hold educators accountable.
Yeah.
Right? Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
Administrators engage in ongoing walkthroughs to hold educators accountable.
Yes.
And what action steps would we take in order for us to complete? So obviously our administrators. Why is it coming out real weird? Maybe set. I don't know how to say this because again, I'm super fried. How do I say that they're gonna like set an amount of walkthroughs like per month or something? What I'm saying?
Say that one more time.
Like how do I word it to where I'm saying that administrators are gonna have a set number of walkthroughs or like a goal of walkthroughs that they're gonna complete in a month.
Administrators will determine the set amount of walkthroughs they are to complete within a month.
You I could have just wrote that.
That's already aligned. I'm sorry, that's already determined by the district, though. We have to complete 10 walkthroughs a week. So
Oh, okay.
how about, I know that you've been working on, I guess, streamlining the McCrell standards, Ms. Puga.
Yes.
One of the things that we've discussed as administrators is that our walkthrough form is not the same, is not aligned with the McCrell format at all. So we feel that if we streamline that form, then that would help you all as well work towards accomplished, distinguished.
Yes. So you're suggesting adding an action step that asks you guys to streamline the observation form to the
I would
McCrail.
say so. How does everybody feel? Because I know that it's definitely not aligned. How does everybody feel about that?
I agree.
Yeah. I think I for one would like to like if it's not streamlined and at the end of the day what they're basing our entire evaluation on or a big chunk of it is the walkthroughs that you guys complete. So if they're not up to par or they're not streamlined, then there's room for error and disparity. What does everybody else think? Can anybody think of another action step that maybe can help support that third strategy?
Hmm.
'Cause we need to have at least 2.
Do we want to meet with, do you all want to have like little
Or
post walkthrough
yeah, I was
Oh,
about to
that
say that.
conversations?
Providing like effective feedback
Yeah.
after an observation so that educators know what to expand on or what they need professional development
yeah, so
on.
provide feedback in a post observation conference. Right? So provide thorough feedback in a post
Mm-hmm.
observation conference. Awesome. Is there any other action step we might want to add before we go on to our new goal? And again, we're just drafting. We're going to finalize this after receiving feedback. And I'll take care of making sure we word this.
Well, I think that's all that we can do for that strategy.
Okay,
Right. I
awesome.
would say also feedback that is aligned with, because since it's pertinent to our RLA, then maybe feedback that's aligned with the content and how teachers can grow from a specific content, lesson, or TEK.
So provide thorough content aligned feedback that includes specific TEK improvement, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Provide thorough content aligned feedback that includes specific TEK improvement in a post observation conference. Everybody feel confident with these?
Yeah.
And I'll email this out to you guys. So let's go on to our next one. And I filled this one in and I got it from last year's CIP. Because again, I'm trying to make this as easy as possible for us. So I'm looking at the I know it's super small, I'm so sorry. The goal area, again, student achievement, our annual goal stays the same. So by May 2021, 7th and 8th grade will increase their reading star passing scores by at least 3% in comparison to the previous year. Now, something that was mentioned a lot in Wednesday's meeting was alignment, horizontal and vertical alignment in order to increase our scores and then therefore completing and achieving our goal area of student achievement. So one of the strategies that was presented last year was to collect and assess data to monitor student progress and drive interventions. And then these are the 4 action steps that were taken. So use ongoing district formative and summative assessments by grade levels. Student groups' data will be disaggregated at the district level and campus level. So we'd be using the scores to kind of use assessment data to drive intervention plans and build intervention time, provide instruction on interventions that are directly related to student needs. So this was something that was already included back in our previous CIP of last year. Not sure how you guys feel about this one, but I wanted to include it because it was very general. What do you guys think?
So you want to include this goal? Is that what you're saying, or just
Yes.
the research? Oh.
The strategy. No, yeah, I personally liked it, so I wanted to include it here to see what you guys thought, whether we can leave it or we can take it off.
This is still goal 1, the reading goal.
Yes, we're still on goal 1. We're going to need to do 2 objectives. So this is a different objective. The first objective, I don't remember what the first objective dealt with aligned to curriculum, and this one is horizontal and vertical alignment.
Will this help us achieve our objective goal? Will collecting and assessing data help us achieve the reading curriculum being horizontally and vertically aligned?
Yes, it will.
Yes.
Yes. So you guys want to keep it? Okay. And I'll share this with you guys. Would you guys like me to share it with you now so you can take a look at it on your end?
Yes, please. That way we can also help type.
Okay, awesome. Yes, I didn't even think about that. Thank you so much for letting me know. Let me really quick. Hi, Josh. I took you off. Awesome. Okay. It's been sent. So I'll give you guys like a minute to open it up so you're able to see it a little bit better at your side or on your end. And let me know once you guys are there so we can continue. Does everyone have access?
Ready?
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Anybody else?
We're good. We're good.
Cool. So that second strategy, something that was mentioned, and I know I shared the suggested strategies with you guys, but something that was mentioned for still goal 1 was that we need to improve literacy, right? And this goes hand in hand with what Mrs. Arredondo was saying about vocabulary. So I thought maybe for strategy 2 we could focus it on improving literacy skills for every student. Let me know what y'all think. We are on, in case you get lost, annual goal 1, objective 2.
Yes, it would make sense for throughout 6th, 7th, and 8th, right? You're saying vocabulary?
Yeah, so this one would be 7th and 8th only because our annual goal deals with 7th and 8th. But we can
Okay.
repeat, if I'm wrong, Ms. Martinez, let me know. But I want to say we can repeat this strategy with the 3rd goal. Ms. Martinez, I have a question.
Yes.
Because essentially we're doing the same thing for 6th grade, like we're dealing with math and we're dealing with reading, would it be possible to simply just mirror these strategies and action steps into that annual goals, or would we have to create whole new ones?
No, we can. We can use the same strategies that we're using in 7th and 8th grade, and we can also add a few other strategies that are relevant to that grade level.
Okay, just wanted to double check. So then essentially we just need to complete these 2 annual goals and we'll have what we need for 6th grade. Just then some, adjustments because we are helping them with the transition, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Action steps, guys, to improve literacy skills. Maybe encourage. This would be one that I or we can use our how do I say, like, have students encourage reading and AR testing. Maybe we can have some incentives. What do you guys think?
I agree with the incentives.
Okay. Because I think the more the students read, they get more familiar with words. And then if they get tested on it, that'd be good too, so we know how much they're understanding. Is there any other action step that we can think of?
Maybe, I don't know. Do we have a book club at our school? Like where they get together?
Not at all, like Alamo Middle School by itself, no, but I know there's one for the district.
I know Moni sent out an email about starting a book club, and I believe that there is one, but she's in charge of it, and I think they were going to be having a virtual one. They were going to start one out. Let me see if
I want to say that the one she sent out, Mrs. Martinez, was the one for the district,
right? Where they have the battle of the books.
Andale. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like having one, like maybe on the actual readings that you guys are doing for the week, like, choose one of those, how they're, it's not the full story, like the full book.
Yes, I get
Maybe
you.
choosing one of them and focus on that one throughout the year, and meeting once in a while and just to discuss, okay, read chapter 1 or 1 and 2 when we come back, and kind of incorporate. I don't know. I'm just saying something
I
like
really
that.
like that, yes. Because sometimes I notice that when the students are going over a specific reading in the classroom, they're like, okay, well, what happens next? What happens next? They want to
Yeah.
know. I like that.
So we would initiate campus book club and read stories that have been or that are in RLA curriculum. And I'll tailor that to add what you had said, because I know you mentioned the stories that we do have are chunks and pieces of whole books.
Mhm.
That's a good one. I really like that. Do we have any other action steps? Because we're still dealing with reading, we're still dealing with improving literacy skills in all students. I was thinking maybe like, what do you guys think about introducing respective vocabulary words to our content? So like, or no, because that wouldn't be tailored to reading. Never mind. I just thought about it.
Maybe I don't know. Like in elementary, we have they would have, which you would read for the first like 12 minutes, independent reading,
Okay.
and to promote, like, it's because the thing is in middle school they don't have time to do it in class. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Miss,
they
Miss,
they're
Miss, that's
discouraged from that.
Miss Arredondo. That's my whole class, Miss. You can't do that.
Well, no, but in reading, like in RLA, like,
Maybe during zero period also.
yeah, I was thinking that, but you know how they're aiming for the emotional for that period. So I
Social,
don't,
emotional.
yeah.
But we
They
can
have.
read about it.
Oh, true.
True. That's a good one.
Oh, that's a good one.
Hmm.
So establish
Reading time.
and I'll just put zero period. Yay, awesome. Now let's think of another strategy. How are we gonna horizontally and vertically align our reading curriculum?
I think you all had mentioned the Jane Schaefer the Jane Schaefer program.
Yes. Do we on our strategies? That's something that I was gonna inquire with you about. When I'm typing this out and when I transfer it into more academic vocabulary, it's okay for me to specifically name the
The program,
strategy.
yes. Because Mrs. Barza mentioned that when she does request certain programs, she takes the pages from the campus improvement plan and she inserts it in, for example, the specific request. So if we're paying out for Spanish AP or we're paying out for Jane Schaefer, then we attach that page of the CIP. So it does have to, if this is something that we say that we're going to be doing, and that we're going to be purchasing, they expect it for it to be on the CIP.
Oh, okay. So then we would definitely need to embed Jane Schaefer. So then action steps. Why does it keep saying a crayon steps? Action steps. We would embed Jane Schaefer because we're trying to let me put it, embed Jane Schaefer in all contents. And then what action steps can we do to make sure?
And the action steps are going to make sure that the strategies are being implemented, right?
Right, essentially.
I think that a lot of this is going to rely on actually observing. It's going to go back to observing, because it's one thing for educators to say that they're implementing it within their classroom, and it's another thing to actually verify and validify that they're actually doing so. So the action step that I propose is, again, in engaging in ongoing observations to verify whether or not educators are correctly implementing the Jane Schaefer process within their classrooms.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time? You kind of cut off at the end. I was
Yeah,
like,
I was just like engaging in ongoing observations to verify whether or not educators are correctly or appropriately incorporating the Schaefer methods throughout their classroom.
So essentially, administrators holding teachers accountable for implementation.
Yes.
So basically, that one's gonna be for all three.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
like he's talking about observations, right, Mr. Alanis?
Yes, like so you're saying like that can be a strategy for all three goals because at the end we teachers have to be reliable that everybody's doing it.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's just one thing for them to say something and then do completely the other in the class. So I feel like that's why it's so important to put that across all three.
I like that. We can also well, this one would have us. Well, ay, ¿qué estoy diciendo? PDs, we would have to get trained in Jane Schaefer all again for our new teachers, right?
Yeah, so providing opportunities for professional development for novice educators or marginal educators, novice marginal
Providing
opportunities or
PD sessions for new teachers. And
How
I'll
about
change into your wording. Go ahead.
also a refresher for everyone? Maybe just providing ongoing professional development sessions for all teachers.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Providing ongoing PDs for all teachers. Yes. And then do we have another action step we might want to add? Are y'all good with those?
How many times did Dr. Lewis come to our campus last year? 4?
We met with her
Virtually.
virtually after school at least 3 times. And then those trainings that ELA or RLA now was sent off to, which I would say every time we took a writing benchmark. So we saw her about 6 times a year.
What do you all think worked best with that program as far as the professional development? What do you think was really effective?
You're asking whether like virtual or in person?
Right.
In person, because
Yeah, in person, because virtual she would kind of go over passages we already went over through
yeah.
in-person trainings.
Yeah. In person, she was literally the teacher. She would walk around and look at your paper and be like, no, that's wrong. Fix that. And, I learned like that.
Okay. And you mentioned something, Mr. Perez, that she would go over passages that you all had already done.
Yes.
So do you feel that maybe adjusting a little bit of what you give her and how she gives feedback, would that help you all?
As far as virtually, yes. I feel like Miss Buga said, when it was in person, we were provided with new, like, I guess, content. But a lot of what we did after school, like then and virtually, we already had done. So like I think that one of our last trainings, the passage was like something that she already had gone over before, or something that was already covered in our curriculum. So there was no sort, like, we couldn't go and reteach it because it was already taught to the children.
Could that be an action step?
Yeah.
So we
So
would-
Yeah.
So maybe ensuring content provided in PD is something that can be implemented, or how would I word that?
Ensuring content provided in PD is something that can be implemented. Or ensuring that content provided in PD is something that educators have not covered within their campus curriculum.
Okay, educators have not covered within their campus curriculum. Okay. Awesome. Does everyone feel okay with this? Okay. I'm gonna take that as a yes. Now, for this next one, I included that same strategy just because the only difference here is that we're switching contents. We're switching from reading to math. I also kept the same objective. So if you notice, the objective 1 for the annual goal is the same objective 1 for the first goal. You know what I'm saying? All it is just we're just switching from reading to math. Is that okay with you guys? That our objective here is to align the curriculum and to monitor student progress.
I feel like that's fine.
Okay. And then Mrs. Martinez, you had said we're allowed to mirror strategies. So like would everything here be included in, like, how would I say it? Would I just basically copy and paste what we wrote over here, but just tailor it to math?
Right.
Okay. So
So
is there any, go ahead.
I know that math mentioned a few days ago that they wanted for science and themselves for the gridables to be aligned because
Yeah.
they're not when they test. So maybe that's something that we as a campus can adapt. Maybe the Scantron or the gridable that say science bubbles in, maybe it could be like the one that math uses.
Yeah. So that would be another strategy, right? Or would that, yeah, that would be a strategy.
That I would say would be an action step.
Okay. So what would be the overarching strategy? That kind of confuses me.
So wouldn't it be
Oh, well, that would be aligning, because keep in mind our
right?
second goal would be horizontally and vertically aligning. So that would be an action step for this,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then what would be our strategy?
It would be horizontally and vertically aligning the curriculum.
So maybe like science and math departments work together, or
Yeah,
like,
and that would be that action step would be included in the horizontally aligning the curriculum. It would
right.
be an action step.
Okay. So then maybe you had said, because every action steps have to be correlated to a strategy, correct? Like you have to have a strategy and then the action steps for that strategy. So I guess my question is like, what strategy do I put, because that would be an action step.
Okay, I see your point.
You see what I'm saying? Wouldn't be a strategy? Well, I guess the strategy would be like science and math. I don't know.
Maybe collaborate in planning certain components, because I know that Mr. Alanis mentioned that the division, even when setting up problems on the calculator, students have problems with that. Like as far as the numerator and denominator, they don't know where it goes. And remember teaching math and science, teaching the Tebow method.
So math and science teachers collaborate to streamline components present in both curriculums, which would include the gridables, and the division,
And
the
division.
estimation, right?
Yes.
So does
Would
that
that,
sound okay?
what do you think, Mr. Alanis?
Can you repeat that, Miss? Sorry.
On the strategy, math and science teachers collaborate to streamline components present in both curriculums. What do you think? Like, could you all maybe collaborate on, like, for example, the division aspect, on the estimating, on the gridables?
Yes, I think that will help a lot because we'll be in the same page. So the math department will know as well as we will know the way they're teaching it and the way that we're teaching it. Maybe we can meet in the middle and say, okay, they have to learn this way. So yes, I do agree.
So
And
the
how
action
can
step,
also, Mhm.
go ahead.
That can also help science.
So then action step would be to establish one gradable, right? For both math and science. Am I right?
Yes.
And then
We
what
can
would,
all, I'm sorry?
go ahead. No, I was gonna ask what else
Yeah.
can we?
So something else that the Ms. Vera mentioned is the estimating.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe during team meetings to have brief conversations on the curriculum. Maybe this could benefit everybody, reading and math, as far as maybe reading can, I know that you all, Mr. Perez, you all always collaborate with each other, you all in social studies, and you ask, okay, what are you all covering? Or you find out through the students and they'll say, oh, well, I learned about Harriet Tubman. And the good thing is that in your curriculum, you may have Harriet Tubman in there. I remember last year,
Yeah, it ended
ELA,
up lining up.
right? ELA and social studies were lined up.
So we would put discuss strategies for, you
Or
talked about estimation, right?
horizontal alignment. And maybe you can put estimating, yeah, there we go.
Okay.
And dividing.
Hi. Estimation, division, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome. And then we have our, do we want to add another action step? Mr. Alanis, I know you're science and we don't have a math teacher here, but anything else that we can do between math and science to streamline both contents?
I think that that's one of the major ones. I know that let me see, so scribbles of math and science. No, I think that's a good one for us, Miss.
Okay.
Mr. Tobias mentioned that they can't give specific, like on the spot feedback. Would that be something that we would want to incorporate as far as another strategy? I know that Mr. Alanis mentioned Pear Deck because it gives instantaneous feedback. What do you all think about that? He said that it was very difficult for him to even see students doing the work because he couldn't, first of all, they didn't have their cameras on. And second of all, he couldn't give that feedback when the students were doing a problem wrong.
Right. Yes. Sorry, I'm not looking at the chat. Oh, that was like a long time ago. I'm so sorry. I think that's important, Mrs. Martinez, because if there's something, and I need to talk to Mrs. Cortez about that because I'm sure she knows something. If there's something that, like an app or anything that's gonna help math teachers and science teachers see students' work in real time, I think that'll really boost our scores up because that's how they're gonna be able to hold the students accountable. I mean. So I don't know how we would word that. Remain up to date with platforms, I guess, that provide real-time feedback. Or not feedback, that provide real-time
Teacher to student feedback during
real-time
e-learning.
student teacher during e-learning. Okay, so remain up to date with platforms that provide real-time teacher to student feedback during e-learning. Right? So an action step for that one would be maybe I'm thinking about dedicating a planning session just to doing research. Would that be an action step?
Yes.
Good.
Dedicating planning time once a month, just to be specific. Because that would be them remaining up to date but not doing it every week, right? So dedicating planning time once a month to doing research. What do you guys think about that? About that once a month thing? Do you feel that's too frequent, not frequent enough?
How about just to create the activity? Because I know that it's time consuming creating a pear deck, right?
Mm-hmm. So you would say
So
in replacement of this? Or in addition to?
maybe in addition to
Okay. Can you repeat that just so I can have a train of thought going?
incorporating planning time within the instructional day to create interactive, I don't know, and engaging lessons.
Okay.
What do you all think?
I like that.
Yeah, that is good because it is time consuming.
Yeah, it is, especially now. And then if we lack the technology. Awesome. So we're pretty much done. We went ahead. We went to objective 2. We skipped objective 1. So we did the horizontal and vertical alignment one. I'm trying to. How would this help us? I'm trying to see what I can add here to help it make it more like correlating, because this one's talking about horizontal and vertical alignment. Or would that still count, Mrs. Martinez? Would that still kind of like fall under that?
I don't think necessarily. I think it would be something separate because it involves planning time, it involves using platforms
Right. So
to
maybe
enhance your own curriculum.
we can do it here though. Well, no. Because this one deals with monitoring, unless we can create a strategy where we can put all 4 of these remaining up to date, dedicating planning time, incorporating planning time, all of them as strategy steps under another strategy over here. But I don't know what the strategy would be and how we would tie that into monitoring student progress.
Well, that does kind of, it is kind of relevant to that because you're monitoring the student progress by giving instantaneous formative assessment. So for example, it's kind of like entry tickets. Those are like, you give instant feedback. It's a type of formative assessment. You adjust.
Right. But this would go more so for objective 1, right? For alignment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, okay, let me move it over. So that would be our second strategy maybe, and then all 3 or both of these. Both of those would be our action steps. So then we need a third strategy as far as monitoring student progress. We can take a look at last year's CIP.
I also like what Mr. Perez mentioned, the data wall.
Oh, yes. So I had read that from Stephanie as well. Let me go to the chat. Academic word wall. Oh, and the data wall, right? Is what you were saying. So maybe.
And also, you remember, I don't know if Mr. Ortega gave them to all of y'all last year. It was a form where the students would actually shade in their percentages.
Like a data tracker?
Yeah, a data tracker, but they had their own folder.
So
Yeah,
I like that. How would we word that as a strategy? Create individual student tracking forms, because keep in mind this is something that we're going to have to do if because it's in our campus improvement plan. So I would not mind doing that. That would really help me. And if the students do it in every class.
Yeah, and they like seeing that. They like to see their improvement.
Mm-hmm. So you feel, Mrs. Arredondo, this would fall under that would fall under monitoring progress. So create individual student tracking forms. An action step would be to use these tracking forms across contents to establish. What does that sound? How does that sound to you guys? Use these tracking forms across contents to establish familiarity. So they would use it in math, science, if they have a test in dance, band, anything like that. So it just becomes second nature.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Can we think of another action step that we might need to do in order to create those individual student tracking forms?
Could we maybe communicate with parents about this individualized plan? That way they can be informed about their child's progress? Would
I
that
think,
be? Uh-huh.
yes, I just think we need to not define, I'm sorry, to say how often we would be doing that. Like maybe at the end of the month, every week.
I think we would need to come up with something realistic, something that everybody will not have trouble doing, and it won't be too much. Maybe just with a certain period. What do you all think about that? Could we communicate to parents about this form? Do we have the student, what do we want students to do with this form? Are they going to bring it back signed? Are they going to show it to the parents? Are we going to mail them out with the progress reports? Will we have certain meetings with parents?
Someone had mentioned, and I don't know where it's at. It's for goal 3, but sending parent report cards through folder requesting signature. So I think that
It was
as
Miss Trevino, I believe.
yes. What do y'all think about doing it like for progress report card and then for report card? Because they would have 3 by that time. They would already have 3 tests because we test weekly. RLA tests weekly. I'm not sure how math and science, or even how SPED does it. Do y'all test weekly?
Well, I don't have a resource class this year, so,
For
but
science, sorry, Miss, go ahead.
I believe every class tests, like every subject tests weekly, right, Mr. Alanis?
Yes, we should be testing weekly, but because of the time, it's very hard for us to test weekly. So, but we try to get it in there.
So then would this be feasible then to create individual student tracking forms? We can create an online one. I feel like that's fair. I definitely think that we can create one. We would just need one more action step.
Ms. Arredondo, when you had students fill out this form, would this be something that was communicated to parents or just for students to track their own progress?
I allowed them to take them home and bring them back. They didn't have to sign it, but they would have to bring it back to me and let me know that their parents saw it. But it was just to build that communication also. I mean, I didn't call parents to let them know that the form was going to go out. But we just started when, I think it was last year. I don't remember when he gave us that form. And then we went online, but they were actually doing the highlighting. They would put their percentage. But I would, in the resource in my class, I would do it for each class period, like the math, the reading, the science, social studies. And then when if I didn't have those kids for a resource, I did it during tutoring. So all my kids had that form.
So maybe just mention to the parents or like communicate with them at the beginning that these forms exist. And if they're wondering how the student is doing, then to ask the student for the form.
Well, like right now on virtual, you can email them to the parents, right? Since we have
Mhm.
emails.
Right. So would an action step be to inform parents about the data tracking form? What do you guys think?
I know that I used it in my class as well, and I would only use it for the benchmarks. And it was really good for the students because they would see like, oh my gosh, I went down points or I went up. Like the kids get really excited, like Ms. Arredondo said. And I would only call those parents where I saw that the students saw a decrease. I wouldn't call the parents of those who had an increase or stayed the same. I would focus on those who saw a decrease on the scores.
So then you would let the data shaded, or like the score, I don't know how to say this, but I'm just going to say the data shaded, let the data shaded guide parent phone calls in a way, because you said you would only call the parents of those who decreased. And now, Mrs. Olivares, would it be like any decrease, like just even if it's a point or two, or would it be like something significant that would make you call the parents?
Yeah. I mean, when I saw a decrease, like 1 or 2 points, I would talk to the student.
Okay.
You could have gone higher or something like that, but it was a significant decrease, I would contact parent.
So maybe if significant decrease is present, a parent phone call must be made. What do you guys think?
I agree with that. It's very specific.
Yeah. Do we have any other action steps, guys, that we might want to add? The only action things that we're missing for action steps is this strategy 1. We can remove this and pick one of these. We had said focusing on estimating, we did that one, alignment, vertical alignment of teaks.
It's because that one kind of falls more on administration, no? Like that's why it's kind of hard for us too.
Yeah, I get that.
It also falls in the training. Maybe Ms. Colunga can have certain COC sessions targeted to identify specificities in the TEKS. You know, we can start from scratch. I remember we had this training with science a while back, or maybe we can bring somebody from Region 1 that can help us with this.
And you're saying, Ms. Martinez, to mark that as an action step?
Right.
Okay. So maybe to seek
di-
assistance?
Or not maybe not word it that way, but provide COC related, or I'm sorry, provide COCs that outline how to identify specificities in the TEKS.
I think another one for this one is to come up with a document, and I know I had mentioned this, to come up with a document, like if, for example, in reading, something that we test low on is figure 19D, right? So that's a specific TEK. Figure 19D always looks like, from paragraph 3, the reader can infer, so maybe create sentence stems, create a document with sentence stems on correlating TEKs, and then teaching that to students. That way they know, like, if something is worded a specific way, they know it's that TEK. It's like, okay, I have to spend some more time with this because this is very intentional. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't know how to word that. Maybe list
Star formatted sentence stems in the classroom.
Yeah, so list star formatted sentence stems in the classroom.
Or teach star formatted sentence, not teach. You're not going to teach that, right? But you're going to have students become familiar to them.
So familiarize students.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe display, no?
Displayed, yes. Thank you.
So familiar, that would be another action step, or would we put it there? Or familiarize students with, through displaying, or through display in the classroom. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And do we have another action step that we might want to add on this?
How about incorporate, because it says here, prior to the administration of teachers will review the assessments to ensure. How about incorporating star formatted entry tickets or exit tickets?
I like that. You're saying
What-
across contents or just math?
I would say across, we can do that in reading too, so maybe we can copy paste that action step.
I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do like a blend of both. Because I like these better. I don't know how y'all feel, but I like these better. Or maybe we can just include all of them. Because I do think we need to receive the proper training, but I'll do that. Don't worry about that one. Then you had said creating, what was that? I'm sorry.
Star formatted entry and exit tickets. Entry or exit tickets. I don't know how that would look like in reading though. Would it be too long, or would it be something that you all already have, or?
I think that we can do this anyways because there's always like the example that I gave earlier, in paragraph 2 or using paragraph 2, the reader can infer. There's paragraphs that aren't too lengthy, that they're like semi small, and you can still ask an inferencing question with. So it would apply to us as well.
You know what, Ms. Puga, since you mentioned that inferencing is a TEK that the students score very low on, maybe we can always include that specific, those specific star formatted questions into the ELA classes. Questions about inferencing, like questions about the lowest TEKs. So every day it would be an inferencing question, inferencing. That way the students, by the time they take the test, they already know exactly what they're going to be looking for. What do y'all think about that?
And you're saying to do that as an additional strategy for this objective?
For reading.
Yeah, we definitely can.
Would it be a strategy, or would it go under the first action step?
To create star formatted, or to, because that would be the same thing we have over here, right? It's just that we have it for math.
Right.
So create
But
star. Go ahead.
maybe we can, okay, maybe we can add on there in the math and the ELA one, on the lowest TEKs.
But to create to focus or to identify. And this is another strategy. Can we only do 3 strategies, or can we do 4?
No, we can do more than 3.
Okay, so identify lowest. I don't know how to word that.
Identify weaknesses.
Or identify weak TEKs.
Or weak TEKs, yeah.
That would be the strategy, right? And I'm just gonna fix that over here. And then an action step would be to maybe allow that first assessment, like that first benchmark, to guide that to see what students test low on. I don't know how to word that.
After the first benchmark.
Right.
So identify weak TEKs after the first benchmark, and then the action steps would be
Looking or analyzing data, no? Analyzing DMAC data.
And then
Allowing, go ahead. I don't know what to put. Allowing focusing on frequently tested TEKs, maybe?
yes, focusing on frequently tested TEKs in the classroom.
Ay, que hiciste, niña? Let me see. Ay, I hate when that happens. Oh, I forget we have this button. There we go. Focusing on frequently tested TEKS.
And where would you put the incorporating the exit or entry or exit tickets? The
That would
star
be
formatted.
that would be here too. So incorporating.
Star formatted.
So dealing with weak TEKS, right? So what we do for entry and exit tickets would be the stems for those TEKS that we lack, right?
Correct.
Okay.
What do you all think about this? I know that Ms. Olivares mentioned that some of the strategies that are used in RLA could be used in the Spanish classes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
like this.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So we did that. We're done with annual goal 1. Where did the bottom of my screen go? Oh. Annual goal 2, we are also done with. We're done with this. We still need a final strategy for horizontal and vertical alignment. Let's look at our CIP from last year and see what we can grab. Oh, this one, curriculum documents will include ELP strategies for EL students. What do you guys think about that one?
That's a good one.
Because we do have a lot of our EL students. My mom. So, let me see. Okay, I can't copy and paste. Curriculum documents will include ELP strategies. And what action steps will we take to reach that? Last year's, like we had mentioned, last year's CIP wasn't very what's the word I'm looking for? Specific. So maybe designating a spot for differentiation of instruction or differentiated instruction of our EL population in our lesson plans. Or like ensuring we have an assignment or a document or a strategy, an ELP strategy for our EL students. I don't know how to say that, because I'm trying to think about like holding us accountable for embedding these ELP strategies.
I like that, Ms. Puga.
Which one? The lesson plan?
Maybe
Well, we have to have a training. No, we have to have a PD on the ELP strategies first, or maybe a CLC session.
yes, we can even bring Miss Sherry Vargas.
So just be teachers will be properly trained on ELPs. And then maybe, what do you guys think about that one? Because I know that one might be something we want to discuss, like including a section for EL students or in our lesson plans. And I know I don't write lesson plans for like every day, but I do like an overview of the week. I'm just trying to think of.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Ms. Puga. You want everybody to include a speaking component, a writing component, or
Yes.
one of the 4 areas in their lesson.
Yeah. In our language and content, content objective. I mean, language objective.
What about speaking, since we scored the lowest in that area?
So then how would we word that? So incorporate speaking.
Or maybe just overall, all of them. Yeah, just all of them. Incorporate ELP strategies, SIOP strategies or ELPs in the lesson
But daily, right?
daily.
Yeah. That one works also. Do we have another action step we might want to add? Besides these? Maybe hold students accountable, but that wouldn't really. Oh, well, yeah. What do you guys think about holding students accountable for the CIF strategies? But we really can't. It's nothing that's like on paper. Unless it's like the writing portion. But I'm not sure what you guys think.
I think that's fine the way you have it there. I think.
Okay. Anybody else that agrees, disagrees?
Agreed.
Okay. I know it's kind of a daunting task, guys. I know it's a lot for us to handle. I think that the easiest way, so we're done with our first 2 annual goals. It's also 3:55, and like I said, I do want to value your time. Ms. Martinez confirmed that we are able to grab strategies from over here. So we also need to come up with our objectives, right? Because I didn't come up with objectives for this last one because I wasn't sure of what to put. One of our objectives, I think the easiest way for us to do this is to make one of our objectives tailored to reading and another of our objectives tailored to math, because we included reading and math.
I would even say one of the objectives to involve the social and emotional component, just because we've experienced that if the students, if they're not going to be stable with themselves, if they're not going to be stable at home, they're not going to function at school. So especially for the transition from from 5th grade to 6th grade, the students sometimes they come scared of being in a big campus. We had autistic students about 2 years ago that they were having panic attacks because they could not handle the bigger population. So that's something else that I think, if they're going to be emotionally stable, they're going to perform, or they're going to try to perform. So that's going to help us out with student achievement. I think that's a big factor. I don't know what you all think about that.
I hadn't even thought about that one, but now that you mention it, I definitely agree. If students aren't mentally stable and proper enough, then there's no way they're going to learn. Does anybody else agree, disagree?
I agree with that because this past week I've been feeling and I agree with that because of all this online stuff and all the paperwork, and I've been feeling it.
Yeah. Okay, so in our objective we can include, I don't know how to word that. How did I word these other ones? So maybe all 6th grade students will be informed or
This is the transition one, correct?
yes, ma'am.
Well, I know they have that walk through the school, right, Ms. Martinez? Like when they're in 5th grade.
Yes, at the beginning of the year or during enrichment camps, but it's not everybody though. But I think what Miss Puga is asking is, what would be the overall objective for this for this goal.
Yeah.
Would we write about something about easing the transition? Because this does have to do with having them remain at a 5 to 10% range.
Mhm.
We can add several strategies to that specific objective, I think. We
We
can
can.
focus on. Well,
Because
yes, because you see,
okay.
one of the strategies could be score related, and the other strategy could be social emotional learning. You mentioned that you wanted to add a strategy to specific to reading, another strategy specific to math, and the
Mhm.
third strategy could be specific to their social emotional well-being.
The overarching objective, though, would deal with social emotional well-being. So maybe the strategies that we have under that one, because I think to make it easier on us, again, because of the time limits that we have, I think the second goal, I think that this whole goal should deal with social emotional. So like a strategy would be having checkups with students, having random checkups. Another one might be like establishing 2 teachers from that 6th grade level that have like an open door policy to all students if the students don't feel comfortable going to the counselors yet, or something. You know what I'm saying? So I think that we can do an entire tailor this objective to social emotional to their social emotional needs, and make strategies off of that. And then this one would be more academic. I'm not sure what you guys think.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay. Anybody else? Yay, nay.
Yay.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so to ease the transition from elementary into middle school, students will about will become socially and emotionally aware. Does that make sense? And one of the strategies, guys, if that doesn't make sense, please let me know, because I read something and then it doesn't sound right, then it does, and then it doesn't. So what would be a strategy to allow students to be socially and emotionally aware? You had mentioned the walkthrough, Mrs. Arredondo. That's done at the beginning of the year.
Well, that's for all, yeah, for all the kids when they transition. But I think like it's going on with our kids around too. I don't know if that's. I mean, you give them the sense of middle school, but I think it's chaotic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's a district thing, right, Miss Martinez? Because I know other schools do it.
Having the students walk through the campus.
Yes.
I didn't know other schools had done it. I think we started doing that about 2 years ago, and it really worked well. I think maybe Mrs. Barza might have mentioned it during one of her meetings, and other people started adapting that in their school. But it helps out the students as familiarize themselves with where's what, and that's a little, a little help for them. But I do agree with you that when the rest of the students come in, it's a lot more, hectic for the students or chaotic.
Yeah.
But that could be a strategy that we want to continue doing. Expose them to the campus.
Prior
Mm-hmm.
to them attending. But would that be a strategy we can add, considering where we're at right now, like that already passed, or maybe just, I guess that would be an overarching strategy over everything, maybe introducing 6th grade first, or letting them know how things work at Alamo Middle School prior to them working out, like pep rallies, what is expected of them at pep rallies. Since it's their first year there, they kind of don't know what to expect. I know that y'all go over like procedures, right? Like how are you supposed to walk in the halls and all that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
maybe.
And maybe as we transition back to campus, we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to
So
start out small, but
right. expose students to campus behavioral expectations. Is that considered a
Yeah.
strategy? Would we add that prior to entering campus or no? Because it says expose students to behavioral expectations prior to entering campus.
Would we want to bring a certain, would we want to bring certain students to the campus before it's before we open up? So like, for example, those students that are special education students, or maybe other students that just, have other,
Yeah.
maybe those that we know that are very sheltered. I know we've had some parents call in, well, you know what, my child is an only child. I'm scared because they're going to be going to the middle school and it's bigger. Maybe those type also include them. Would that work out?
I think so, but how would I word that? Would you like me to leave it like this? So expose students to behavioral, just expose them to behavioral expectations, maybe not prior to entering campus.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that
Oh,
the
you're
prior
asking
to
for
entering
action
campus,
steps.
right?
Okay. So you had said getting kind of like a group of students first and getting that kind of lost me.
Right. Prior to entering campus, expose a group of students that are identified by teachers to getting to know the building, and I don't know what else.
Yeah,
What
so
It's
what
because
do you
what you notice is that from elementary to middle school, they're like very babied. Like they're real, like um, they're guided, basically. And in middle school, it's a little bit more okay. Yeah, you're becoming an adult. You need to wing them off. But it's hard for them, especially the sped kids. So yeah, like Ms. Martinez said, providing that service for them.
that way they don't have to be so lost when they get here, and maybe they can even, and we don't have to do it one day only. It could be a series of days, because I know that they're very self-conscious about getting lost, and it really affects them. It affects their self-esteem. Like if they're lost or they're crying and they don't know what to do, maybe they'll fit in. It'll make them feel a little bit um, that they feel, I'm sorry, that they fit in a little more with their peers if they at least already know where things are.
yeah. So I did identify a group of students to intentionally assist them in familiarizing themselves with the campus, and then that would then cause like de-stress and all this stuff because they're familiar with the campus. Does that sound okay?
Yes.
Yes, and remember that we can always tweak the wording. It doesn't have to be set in stone. This is a live document, and we can definitely enhance it if we feel that we need to.
Okay. Awesome. So then we have another action step for exposing students to behavioral expectations. Maybe asking them for feedback on what would make it easier on their transition.
That's very true, Ms. Bula. I know Mrs. Esparza started the student committee,
Yes.
the student group. Maybe continue with that and involve I'm sorry, not a fifth grader, an incoming sixth grader in there.
So involve sixth graders into, what is it called?
It's called the student,
Student.
what is it called? Leadership Committee.
Student Advisory Committee.
Ándale, there we go. Thank you. Student
Advisory.
Advisory Committee.
Everyone's just like, oh my God, I can't even remember anything.
It's Friday.
I know. I'm so sorry, guys. I know it's 4:08. I think for this next objective, if it's okay with everybody, I think I'm gonna collectively borrow just like the big ones that we all agreed on from annual goal 1, and then draft something and then present it to you guys, or just even put it here on the document and then just get y'all's feedback through text sometime through the weekend, just to honor everybody's time. I know we're a little tired, and we still have that meeting on Monday as well. But if
That
we
sounds,
just,
I think that sounds good.
okay, awesome. What does everybody else think? Are you guys okay with having me just draft this last one and then we come up with, we tailor it?
That's fine, Miss. And thank you for all your hard work, Miss. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sarah. Yes, of course. Anything to make everyone's lives easier. Strategy 2. I'm here like stretching, like trying to, my back is killing me.
We can also ask for, if we don't have the strategies at in mind right now, we can ask for that feedback when we meet with the larger team, and maybe we can collect some of that and add it to our goal.
Mm-hmm. Well, what if we come up with the strategies now, just these last 2 strategies, and then discuss action steps? Because we don't have a 6th grade teacher here, discuss action steps in the meeting and have them give us action steps like an actual 6th grade teacher. And we just do like the overarching strategy. Because they see, like, realistically, they see more of the 6th grade students than we do. And they probably know what they need, because I'm sure some 6th graders have communicated that with them.
That's a really good plan.
So then let's just come up with these 2 strategies, and then we'll be good to go. What other strategy do we think might assist in the transition?
I know that somebody mentioned anchor charts, incorporating anchor, Ms. Arredondo, I think you did, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But would that tie into the social emotional? No, right?
I think
No.
that would be more academic.
Okay, how about Anna mentioned PTA committee, or who mentioned PTA committee?
Yes. PTA committee. So involving parents,
Parents. Mm-hmm.
right? So we'll just put reaching out.
Or establishing a PTA committee.
Oh yes, because we don't have one, right?
No. Oh, parent, because I think Mrs. Esparza said it was called something different here.
So establishing a parent committee, and then we'd list the action steps once we get feedback. And then strategy 3.
I think you had mentioned frequent check-ins with the counselor, or who mentioned that?
Yeah, me. I guess just frequent check-ins, like a mental check-in.
Yeah,
health.
I
Okay,
like
frequent.
that.
How
Check
often
in.
do they do counseling services? Like,
You
would
mean
they-
when
the counselors, would they meet with them? Like, I know like in elementary, they have like, they meet with them a class one
they
time.
do?
That would
Yes,
be good.
maybe we can add that as an action step, that the counselors, they visit them more often because they're used to that.
Yeah, and they have
Very
sessions, like they are the ones that give the session out, not the teachers.
Yeah,
They provide
that's
the
true.
session, and they provide like an activity.
Okay, so we have our strategy 2, and then our strategy 3, frequent check-ins, and we can establish what we mean by frequent and how frequent as we continue. Does everybody feel okay stopping here?
Yeah.
I think we've got a
Yes.
lot done.
I think
Okay.
we added everything, that all the feedback that the entire group gave us yesterday, or when was it, the day before yesterday?
Mm-hmm. Yes, so everything has been added. I will just tailor it a little bit more. and then draft this for you guys, and I'll share that new document because I'm gonna get real OCD with this document. But yeah, awesome. Is there any final comments, questions that we may have over the CIP, over what we're gonna do on Monday in our meeting? Anything like that?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much for spending an hour and a half with me on your Friday night.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a
Thank you,
wonderful
everyone.
day.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.